Let's move on to Cenk, Anna, let's Jimmy Dore, and yeah, kind of our first
Yeah, sure.
story. So there are a few videos. I mean, one of them was, I think, from a week or two ago, and Cenk and Anna had this other host on who was kind of sitting right in between them.
It, I liked. Did you, by the way, did you watch the video that caused the Rugged Man to be invited on the Young Turks?
No,
His video with the Rugged Man, with Tim Pool.
no.
Oh my God, that's on itself is just a fantastic video. Tim Pool, do you know Tim Pool?
Yeah,
He's yeah. I don't know, by the way, why does he like a lot of people who are balding wear hats, and all that. But I don't know why he does this. Just it makes you look like a penis, man. Don't do that. It genuinely makes him look like a penis. But anyway, but yeah, he's like losing his shit over the fact that he's been it's the funniest thing. He feels like he's been racially like unjustly uh, he's been racist upon. Is that, can you say that?
I don't
I
know.
don't know. He had clashes with racists at airports, and then the
Oh,
Rugged Man just dismisses that because it's ridiculous. He looks just like a average white person. Anyway, it's that video on itself is quite funny,
oh,
and
so
that's why he got invited. So it's like Young Turks are basically they're doing segments about their beefs now, people who
yeah.
they have beefs with, or they don't like. It's quite, yeah, it's quite odd.
I see. And okay, really sorry about this internet issues, and it might actually prevent us from doing the full podcast today, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, they invited him based on that and the beef that he's kind of, I mean, based on everyone's beef, I guess, with Tim Pool. So they found a good person to invite on their show, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, I guess. I mean, it was, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen the full show, so I'm not quite sure if they discussed real issues or not. But yeah, it seemed that yeah, they invited him to make fun of Tim Pool, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
There's a lot of material there again, especially with the hat. It's just he looks like a South Park character, basically. He looks super. He looks like Cartman as well when he gets angry. So yeah, the whole thing is just really fun. But yeah, but then he made the mistake of trying to like bring truth to some
Yeah.
other people, like between Jimmy and these guys. And then yeah, then I mean, you go ahead, tell them what happened.
So what is yeah, so he's like, yeah, why can't you guys just be friends? And then like Cenk and Anna just like blow up. And then I mean, two things that just stood up for me. One is that like Anna says that, no, I won't. This guy has been sexually harassed. He sexually harassed me here for years, right?
Every day.
Every day.
She said, yeah,
And sometimes I don't understand how, if how you can make such a statement like that and not like follow it up. So I mean, if that's what happened and Cenk was your boss, you saw that, nobody did
yeah,
anything
Cenk is
about it. He
actually
was friends with
legal.
them. Then yeah, I mean, exactly. So have there been investigations now? Like if that is true, I'm concerned for the other people now, females working at Young Turks. Are they also have things changed? I mean, you just throw this bombshell, like huge thing there, and fine, maybe back then you couldn't do anything about it, but now have things changed, like not addressing it whatsoever. And of course, what Jenk says after that is just like, we'll get to that, but
He's yeah, it was such a every day, it was such a harsh allegation.
yeah.
Yeah, it kind of undermines other allegations even more than they're already undermined. But yeah, Cenk loses it, and he calls Jimmy the B word a couple of
Yeah.
times in a way. He's very much, it seems like with Joe Rogan, with Jim, he wants to do a fight. He's really
Yeah.
interested in an actual physical fight. That's what it seems to me. But yeah, it's just, he's so funny. He just gets red and starts shouting.
And that's, I mean, you hinted at the second thing that kind of caught my attention is that, your co-host makes sexual harassment allegations, and right away you followed up with the B word. I mean, I guess we can debate what that if that word, is, how, how good it
I
is,
think
how
it
bad
means,
it is as a
uh,
word. But at least also Cenk at least is fully transparent. So I appreciate that. He didn't try to say a word like, so this kind of criticism couldn't be made. At least kudos to him for being fully transparent and just going straight away calling him the B word nonstop.
It was quite funny, but yeah, it was a quite intense. It felt I really felt bad for the guest, the rugged man,
Yeah.
because he was like, you just met. It was like being at a family gathering and trying to, like there's an aunt and an uncle that don't like each other. You're trying to mend, things, and then it just goddamn explode. You know what? Let me tell you the whole story. Oh Jesus Christ! No, thank you. So yeah, it was quite a. Yeah,
But
yeah. I mean, yeah. But surprisingly, though, there was no response from Jimmy. Usually, he does respond, so that was quite surprising.
yeah, he didn't respond that. But you're right. I mean, they want to pick on fights with people. I mean, then they made this other video where they talk about, how Jimmy claims that, the CIA or like CIA backed people or like YouTube are kind of coming after him. And then Anna, like after a few minutes, she just brings in Aaron Maté. And I'm like, Aaron Maté had nothing to do with
Gray
this
zone.
story. Yeah, but she goes to Aaron Maté. Aaron Maté had
No.
nothing to do with that story specifically. And the way she hates Aaron Maté, there has to be something that had happened. She hates this guy so much. She kind of hates him as much as she hates, like it seems like Jimmy Dore and others. And like the Jimmy Dore one, I mean, she's talked about where her kind of hate from him comes from. But the Aaron Maté one, she hates Aaron Maté so much too, and just brought him into this story based on nothing. He hasn't been talking recently about this stuff. They had their thing last year, but as far as I know, at
mean, I
least.
guess she's was through Max Blumenthal and the Gray Zone connection, I assume.
Then that's a bit
But
unfair if you ask me,
yeah,
to be honest.
yeah. Although I mean, begrudgingly, I do agree that CIA is not wasting its time, propping up, or they are. I'm sure they're doing some intelligence work online and bullshit like that, and they have their plans or whatever. But I'm 100% sure they're not specifically. I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure that they're not specifically going after Jimmy Dore or any other specific, or like our growth hasn't been as good as we expected. I feel like it's probably it's because of that. I mean, I assume they changed the algorithm to suppress anything that is controversial, which pretty much means everything in politics
Yeah.
that is especially on the left. But I doubt they're going out of their way targeting a specific people.
Specific people. In that sense, yeah. I mean, I think overall they don't really favor like, non-mainstream sources of news too much. That seems to be clearly the case. But then some seem to, be able to do well. I mean, Breaking Points brought in all those subscribers relatively quickly. Jimmy Dore himself, Jimmy Dem himself recently has been gaining new subscribers. He was kind of stuck around the 800,000. Now he's close to 1 million, or perhaps he's surpassed 1 million. So maybe there's an overall thing. And, maybe there was this other video talking about, so that, let me get her name here. So, Nomiki Konst and with a host, they were also talking about this and, saying that how they're not gaining any new subscribers and YouTube is not showing their content to too many new subscribers and stuff. And like, I feel sometimes our stuff are not being shown to new subscribers that often. Some of them I look and it's shown like 70% of subscribers, but some are shown like to 50% of people who aren't our subscribers and they still don't subscribe. So I think we have to take some of the blame too, that I guess we're just not that good sometimes. We're not that good at interesting perhaps as we hope to be.
But then again, I do think like it's a business, right? And as a business, you try to avoid controversial topics and try to avoid public media heat and all that. So it definitely, of course, they're gonna you know, their algorithm is going to favor, let's say, I don't know, a thing. Like, it's like movies. Why do they make more PG movies than R-rated movies? Because they make more money. So, you know, that's it. But the David Dole, Nomiki Konst thing was so, oh my God, these people are, I mean, it was like the imbecile meets the inept. Like, fucking hell, these guys are just beyond. I mean, David Dole is just, he's a complete idiot. Like, I'm sorry, but he seems like a nice human being generally, I assume, but he's an idiot. Like, they literally are talking about making free speech means tested, you know. So Nomiki Kunst specifically goes after Kim Iverson from The Hill. And I just don't understand why, like, she calls her conspiracy theorist and all that.
There is a woman on there who's an absolute effing conspiracy theorist, Kim Iverson, who should not be on a legitimate channel. Like, I have to say that.
Without saying anything, without backing it with even one thing. So I don't watch their content often, and I'll actually link to the specific video in the description box. So maybe before she has elaborated, but yeah, she calls them a conspiracy theorist, and that's it, and just moves on.
And by the way, she last year she did a thing with Katie Halper. She did an interview with her, and in that one she was also, she was basically, I mean, in my view, she was being bad, I suppose. Being bad, that's really, but yeah, she was pushing the Josh Fox bullshit, allegation that the documentary that Michael Moore made was was a misinformation or disinformation, and was taking Josh Fox, who, by the way, I don't know how that guy is still not like completely, like, there are all these allegations of abuse he's had against him, and somehow he's Me Too proofed for some reason. He's like Biden. He still manages to have shows and comes on shows and all that. Quite a piece of work. Anyways,
I'm not too familiar with him.
Oh, he's the idiot who makes documentaries about climate change and bullshit. Like, I mean, he's a complete, I despise him. I really despise him. But yeah, so she has a history of just, and she was, by the way, there are all these bits about her talking about Libya and how Libyans are so happy that Americans have freed them from the.
Stop it.
Yeah. No, it's everywhere I go in Libya, it's just people telling me how fantastic. Thank you for targeted destruction of our country. But yeah, it's just, and then they're talking about means testing free speech, which is so, it's so funny because they are idiots as well. It's like, you can't really argue they have ill intent because you can see their brain working. Yeah, if you have access to a big platform, then that means you have responsibility. It's like a Spider-Man, if with bigger responsibility. It comes with power comes responsibility. And then I'm sorry. And by the way, David, though Canadian, he's got such a Canadian like stereotypical accent. I'm like, I'm sorry, but you can't. I'm sorry, you can't have that platform. Man. I'm sorry. It's just, you idiots. And then their idea of doing a telethon as like, Jesus Christ.
That really got to me. The last Joe Rogan part really got to me. But yeah, they start off with talking about, how YouTube is, not helping them out, like restricting their content. And then they move on to people who like, they want their content to be restricted, like people like Joe Rogan.
Exactly.
And then they're like Spotify. And then she draws a parallel between Spotify and the New York Times. And she's like, back in the day, we used to fact check people, Spotify should, fact check Joe Rogan.
Yes.
But you're allowed to be wrong. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, you're allowed to be wrong. And Joe Rogan, whatever he says, he's shown it. He believes what he says. So he's allowed to believe what he wants and be wrong as long as it falls under the overall free speech kind of framework that the US has had for a very long time. The guy is allowed to be wrong. You're allowed to be wrong. It's not, and having a platform does not give you a responsibility. That also I totally don't,
I agree with.
Yeah.
No. but it's more than just being wrong. Look, there are things you can be wrong about, hard facts, right? But when it comes to goddamn politics and when it comes to economics and social sciences, it's mostly soft facts.
Mhm.
It's mostly interpretation of facts, right? So like there is no wrong and right on a lot of issues. It's just you don't agree, fundamentally you don't agree. And that was the worst thing about that video. It was, don't you get a whiplash from just suddenly talking about how YouTube is restricting your videos to
Yeah.
talking about how YouTube should restrict other people's videos? It's just like, how do you do that? It's just
Yeah.
you must have snapped some. It's ridiculous. I mean, they are just so ridiculously transparent that that's why I don't think they have any ill intention. They're just complete imbeciles, like genuine imbeciles. But yeah, it's. I mean, it's again, yeah. I think you're right that, of course, first of all, you can be wrong. Second of all, it's just there are lots of issues that you're gonna have disagreements, and sadly, I mean, I would love to live in a world where people agree with me, most people,
Yeah.
but it's not gonna happen, guys. Get over it.
Yeah, and
Very.
I mean, the other very small thing that, I mean, that's very small in the video that kind of got to me, but you mentioned it. They talk about how YouTube keeps on showing us to the same viewers and to the same subscribers. And then she's like, why don't all of us like YouTubers get together and have like videos at the same time? But I was thinking, well, you're just gonna again be doing the same thing. You're gonna again be showing
you're
to the
doing
same people. Anyway, that's
my
fine.
God.
I mean, again, you're
That
allowed to
was
be
more-
wrong.
Yeah, I think that was more out of desperation, because I did look at her videos and views and stuff. Just I clicked because it had been a long time and all that, and she's not doing that much better than us, which is pretty bad considering
Really?
we are
I
doing
didn't
terribly.
see.
Yeah, like she's doing like twice our views or 3 times our views, which for somebody who is a former representative of Bernie Sanders to the DNC and all that, I was quite surprised at her. And she has like all these, oh shit, she has all these famous people on quite a lot. So it was surprising to get some viewers off of like Young Turks and all that. So
Yeah.
I assume.
But yeah, anyway, what more to talk about here? So we had a few more things. There's the movie Don't Look Up that Jimmy Dore kind of brings in.
I love the movie. I don't know what was your
yeah, no, I really liked it. I mean, especially I found it really, really entertaining in like the first half. I mean, I told you I loved that first Oval Office scene when you see Jonah Hill for the first time, and it's just absolute bonkers, and the way they're thinking about things, that how something can be an issue and how something cannot be an issue. And then what university are they from? They're from like the University of Michigan. And
I don't even remember. Oh yeah, it's like it's not a
it's not an Ivy League
university, so yeah, they're
like whatever. and then like the person who's like in charge of the government person who's with them, who's like in charge of like
defense, a space defense, head of a space defense something. Yeah.
So he's like, oh no, they have a really good program in this area, and he just like completely scuffs it. No, but it's really so good. And I mean, and you see, I mean, Leonardo like changes throughout the movie, kind of like the fame and stuff
sells out.
Yeah, you get to him and he comes back. And then, but yeah, I mean, Jimmy Dore thought that it was about COVID-19. And to be honest, I also got the same impression that, maybe that is the issue, that the metaphor was about that issue. But I think you could apply it to kind of any issue. But then you mentioned climate change and other mentions climate change.
I think
it is true that it makes more sense for it to be a metaphor for climate change, I guess.
It was clearly, climate change metaphor. And I do think, I'm not sure, but I do think the work has started before COVID or at the beginning of COVID. So they couldn't see everything, So I'm not. Exactly.
They've been promoting this movie for like a year already, so like I'm sure it started way before.
Yeah, and but the thing was, like, it was one of the greatest things about the film was that actually you never find out president is a Republican or a
Mhm.
Democrat. It's never stated specifically, but it's kind of both. It's implied she's basically could be from either. It
Yeah.
doesn't make any difference because, she has that picture with Bill Clinton
Mhm.
hugging her, and she's not completely like a, complete sort of crazy person
Well, she
like Trump.
becomes a bit towards the
Yeah,
end.
she increased. Yeah. There are even from beginning. There are like she talks about the smoking thing and all
Mhm.
that, but she's like, it's not like, there is the Jonah Hill figure, which
Yeah.
is her son, who's like chief of staff, I think, as well.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah, it's so good. But yeah, I didn't get the criticisms from Jimmy Dore and stuff that it's villainizing one group against the other and all that. It's just, I don't know. It felt
Yeah,
very
it
like
didn't.
unfair, and
Yeah.
to be honest, just you didn't really get the movie or watch the movie properly. It felt like that. It felt like it didn't.
Yeah, I heard Jimmy Dore's criticisms through like second hand or something. Like, I didn't hear him directly, but
I
it
saw
seems
it
to
on
be,
the Jackson.
yeah, it seems like that's what they were saying. Yeah, I didn't quite get that. I mean, he is right that like I mean, because I guess scientists now, but I mean, not all scientists are saying like, the kind of dogmatic thing about COVID either right now. If you like read some of them, they're far more nuanced than, what the impression you would get from different TV channels and all this. So, and he's a scientist.
But there is but there is no, I don't know, but I don't think there is any, the movie doesn't take any sides. They're not villainizing like Republicans or
not in that
anti-science
sense.
people. They're just,
no, they don't.
I don't.
No, I'm just saying the
They're
overall point.
villainizing officials and the fact that they manipulate, everything to their own benefit, to their own very short-term benefit.
And corporations as well, right? Because I mean, they were about to solve the issue, right? Yeah, I mean, they were about to solve the issue, and then they call it off, and then they weren't able to solve it because of corporate greed.
The whole Ron Perlman character, the guy who is like this I think he's ex-sheriff or something, and God, there's that scene where he's making kids exercise in the White House. Yeah. Come on, you lord ass.
He's from a different generation.
Perlman, it's so good. And they're like, isn't he the guy who said some like, I don't know, racist stuff? And he's like, yeah, but he's got a great voice. And it's just so good. He's got a great voice. They don't even need a human pilot, but it's just because he looks better, they're going to put him there. And then it's fantastic. It's so good. Yeah. I must say, one of my least favorite was the Steve Jobs character guy. He didn't, like, they were trying to, I think, mix Peter Thiel and Steve Jobs into one, sort of. But yeah, that was a bit, but it was just overall, it was so good. It was.
But yeah, and again, they showed like, he was probably the most powerful person there, right? Whenever he called for the president's name, she ran out of the room, and she was like,
guys, I'll be right back. What's wrong with you? Oh my God, the part where he would smell the hair of one of the scientists that was working with him. She was giving a presentation, and he was like, he was so separate from any normal human. Yeah, it was. The whole thing was fantastic. It was, and it's great that David Sirota and Adam McKay. Man, I think Adam McKay, Christopher Nolan was my favorite director. But now I think it's Adam McKay for sure. He's just so good.
Yeah, I looked up who he is after you said that. He's done a lot of those comedies, right? The famous comedies.
Yeah, and like two of Big Short and Vice, I think.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no way. Ever. True. Wow. But and
Talladega Nights, of course.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, the only thing I would give like Jimmy Dore, based on a little bit what I heard, is like, they make the scientist is the hero in the movie, which again, I mean, I don't know, are we supposed to vilify all scientists, like, all scientists, bad people and stuff? So I don't really get that.
I mean, again, protagonist does not equal hero. Mm-hmm. You're not supposed to idolize every protagonist in a movie. He's a protagonist. He's a character. He has flaws. I think he has good bits, And what I mean, I mean, not just him, the scientists that work for the Apple guy or whatever, the tech guy, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
they are sellouts, aren't
Yeah,
they?
they
And
are
he
bad
does sell out,
scientists.
you know, so it's not, uh, you know, I don't think it's a this portrayal of an idolized scientist who's a protagonist.